Welcome back to the channel. I think this is the most exciting Marvel Strike Force tweet that I've seen in a really long time. So I was very nervous about what the requirements for the Villains campaign expansion was going to be. I thought we were going to see city, global, and cosmic nodes like we did for Heroes. Thank goodness that is not the case. I mean, it's kind of that way, but not exactly. So for the first three nodes, we have to choose between Sinister Six, Hydra, or AIM, and between those three I will just say AIM, and we'll talk about why in just a moment. Missions 4 through 6 are villains with Mystic tag, not too tough. Let's talk about that too in just a minute. And missions 7 through 9, no additional trait requirement, which means they're going to be really hard, but you can use whatever you want. And what I'm going to want to use is Aimtron plus Minn-Erva. So I'm pretty excited about it. This is really workable. I really like my AIM team, and I'm glad I could use them for the first three nodes of the expanded villain campaign. They're just amazing. So I use them every war to fight some punch up on an Asgardian defensive team. A lot of folks have trouble with that, but if you add the AIM security, which I have at 7 red stars, pretty lucky with that, Scientist Supreme, Assaulter, and Graviton plus Ultron, that is a massive team to deal with Asgardians. So they have great sustain. If it really becomes a problem, I might increase my Researcher and trade out a little bit of damage just to get the sustain to clear the villains nodes. I don't think it's going to be a problem because I've already invested in this team. I'm very excited to use them for 6 of the 9 nodes of the Villains Chapter 7 campaign. Mystic Villains isn't too tough to build a team out of either, to be able to knock out the middle 3 of the 9 Villains campaign nodes. I'm going to go with Thanos feeding energy to Ultimus, I think. At least I'm going to try that. With Loki sitting in the middle, I've already T4'd his special so they can stay stealthed for 2 turns. Did that a long time ago when I was worried about what it would require to unlock Phoenix. Then I'll throw Ronan in, because Ronan, you know, as Thanos feeds Ultimus energy, Ronan will heal him. That's just fantastic. I'll keep that going. And then Juggernaut on the outside just to take hits, build up his charges, and smash when I need some damage. For the last 3 nodes of the villain campaign, I will be using a modified AIM / villain tech team just so I have a lot of sustain and can resurrect folks with both Scientist Supreme and Minn-Erva if I need it, just to clear that 3-star. I'll use my AIM security, I will use Ultron, and I'll use AIM Assaulter to make AIM security and Scientist Supreme go even faster. So that should be pretty easy. Now, the real challenge, that I think that will be a lot less of a challenge to clear those Villains Chapter 7 nodes than it was for Heroes Chapter 7. But let's talk about what I really strongly believe the rewards need to be. Now, I have some passion about what I believe the rewards need to be for the Villains campaign, because there are some key characters in this game that unlock significant portions of the game. I think that characters that unlock the game and that you really need to be achievable. Like, not just locked away as the rare reward inside of a premium orb, or locked away, you know, completely unavailable for months until you pay. So I'm okay for it to be locked away for a little while to let folks who want to pay to have a head start. That's fine. But if you're going to, say, lock behind true progress in Ultimate 7 because you don't have a full Asgardians team that can't, you know, power up and star up so that you can have Black Bolt on your team plus Yo-Yo later, so you can't even have a possibility of advancing past 30% much in Ultimate 7, I mean, that's just ridiculous. So the first thing I would suggest that we should do, and that we know is going to happen, is that Heimdall's coming to Arena. He's coming to the Arena next week. That's great. I have a ton of Arena credits. I wish that there was some kind of orb or something else I could use those credits for, but yeah, throw characters into the Arena store as fast as you can. I can't even use my... I've powered up Human Torch to 7-star, and I don't think it slowed me down in the amount that I was accumulating. Next, I really think that Thanos needs to come out of the Premium Orb only scenario and into the 3rd node of the Villains campaign. Let us work through Sinister Six and AIM to the 3rd node, then let folks have Thanos, who is a mystic villain, they could start farming him if they're having trouble with the next 3 nodes that are Mystic Villains. Kind of a great plan. It's what I would like anyway. And I know I'm getting pretty far into speculation land now. None of this is confirmed. Just letting you know now. But I'm just saying how I believe it should happen. And the final one I think needs to be in the Villains campaign. Let's be straight up. Make it hard. Make it difficult, those last 3 nodes. Something like the Thor challenge. I'm fine with that. But Hela needs to be farmable. Hela is so critical to unlocking Black Bolt, or even for use herself in Dark Dimension 3, that she just needs to be available for farming, period. And it needs to be, I really believe it needs to be in the Villains campaign. It makes a lot of sense. Also with the phasing of when she became available compared to other characters. I know that Elsa and Ghost Rider came before, but they're just not as critical. They're a great team, the Supernatural team, but they're not critical to daily gameplay. Critical to daily gameplay needs to be available through gameplay. I'm okay if there's some really amazing characters who are very difficult to obtain, and that's the next one I'll mention is Sinister. When you're ready, put him in the War Store. He's a fantastic character, but he's kind of niche, and you can work around him, and folks who've paid for him, fine. And his primary use is in war, so put Sinister in the War Store. That makes sense. I'm kind of like Graviton in the War Store is lame. Hela in the War Storm that's being rumored right now would be truly terrible. That would be a real kick in the pants, and I'm really hoping that's not the scenario that comes forward. But put someone like Mr. Sinister there. However, Red Skull becomes available first, later when he's farmable in the War Store, makes a lot of sense. Fine, let him be there. I don't care. That's great if somebody wants to invest in that team, if they want to start them up through the War Store, because it'll probably help them win wars. Makes complete sense to me. Now, the next character that would also need to be available for Black Bolt is Sif. I think she needs to come to Blitz. As a standalone character, she's not that great. She's a great 4th and 5th member along with Heimdall for the Asgardians, but okay, just make her compete with the war resources that we have to farm every single cycle. I think that's fair, but having Sif in the Blitz store would make a ton of sense to me. Past that, the next things that we know that will come to the game is an expansion of the Nexus campaign, and there's other ways that we can farm. So when we get to Nexus, I think the first character that would make sense to come to Nexus is Minn-Erva. So it'll be the final campaign expansion that we're likely to see for a while here in 2020. And Minn-Erva is critical to a game mode that launched last year in 2019 in Dark Dimension 2. So I think she really needs to be farmable for new players who will never experience her character event. She needs to be available. So putting her in an early Nexus campaign node would make a lot of sense to me. Possibly late in the this is where I'm really going to start to speculate. I'm not really passionate about anything remaining except for the final comments on Yo-Yo. So when it comes to Ghost Rider, maybe he could be the last node in Nexus. I'm also okay if he becomes the rare reward in Premium Orbs. I don't really care. I think it's pretty likely we'll see someone like Elsa hit Arena, because again, she's not the most critical member of the Supernatural team by any stretch of the imagination. So great, just let me burn my excess Arena currency there and let it keep going. Now Yo-Yo, along with Black Bolt, who you need, again, Hela for, who I really think needs to be farmable, seems to be critical, advancing past 60% toward 100% in the Ultimate 7 raids. So why not have the raids reward you with the currency to make better progress in the raids? That's generally how all games work. Any MMO I ever played, you raid to get gear so you can raid some more. It's kind of a crazy treadmill or hamster wheel. It's like, hey, I'm only ready to get better gear so that I can raid more. Well, it's kind of the mentality though. So if I want to be able to progress towards 60, past 60, toward 100%, it seems like Black Bolt, who's required in a lot of different game modes, and Hela, who's required in a lot of the new Tier 11 and Tier 12 challenges to really make a dent into them. Yo-Yo seems to also be required in the raid, so why not put her in that raid store, in the raid orbs? All right, hiding behind me over here, see, duck and cover, is Strife. That guy, he's kind of useless. He's just there to help out Sinister. So I really think he deserves a like easier means of access to. So maybe he should just replace somebody. Like Night Nurse doesn't need 2 nodes anymore. Strife can hit a node later, not a hurry, don't really care. So that's my opinions. I'm really excited that the Villains campaign is coming. The teams that we can use for them are more reasonable. I was very scared about Villain City nodes, which are not going to occur. Work aim, work your Villain Mystics, and then I really hope some of the speculation I put out here and the reasons why, especially for characters like Hela and Yo-Yo becoming, farmable, come to pass. Past that, I hope you have a great day.